In this video, it's time to go wide or go home because we're going to check out Wider, a free stereo widening plugin from Infected Mushroom. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete and welcome to Studio Live today. Now, what the heck is a stereo widener plugin and why would you use one in your projects? Well, a stereo widener does exactly what it sounds like. It widens the stereo spectrum of your track so that your guitars, your vocals, your drums can have a nice amount of stereo width. So not everything is either right up the middle or on the left or the right. You can stretch it out. You'll hear and see how we do this in this video. This is the plugin. It's an AUV3, which means it's a separate app that you can download from the App Store and install here in GarageBand or any other digital audio workstation on your iPad or your iPhone. So now that we've given you the basic explanation, let's dive in and see what this baby can do. So to download Wider, all you need to do is jump over to the App Store, search for Wider, and there it is, Wider by Infected Mushroom. Download it, and then you can jump into GarageBand or your DAW of choice and load it up on a track. Let's do that now. So I'm going to use this demo of my new song called 1%. At the moment, it sounds like this. When you open your eyes up to the sky above. And we're going to use Wider on some of these tracks to get some more stereo width, because at the moment we have our guitars panned left and right, but that's really all that's happening in the stereo spectrum. Everything else is right up the middle. So let's see if we can widen up some of these tracks now. Let's start with our vocals. So we will solo the vocals here. Now to add the plugin, we come up to our mixer icon. It's in the top left here on your larger devices. If you're using a smaller iPhone, it'll be in your top right under your settings. We then tap on plugins and EQ. Now we tap the edit button here and you'll see we have some free slots here ready to add. If you don't have free slots, you might need to remove one of the other plugins. So we're going to add this one in here. We'll tap on one of these green plus buttons, come over to audio unit extensions, scroll on down through all of the other ones here and tap on this one, Wider by Infected Mushroom. What a cool name, Infected Mushroom. Anyway, we can now tap on the interface here, and it is a very, very simple interface here. All we need to do is tap and drag, and we can drag out anywhere from 0% right out to 100, and then beyond, we can add additional width and send it all the way out. There's some drawbacks to doing that and some advantages, which we'll go through in a moment. But for now, let's hit play, and I'm going to increase the stereo width. If you're listening on headphones or on stereo speakers, you'll hear that my vocal is going to stretch out into the stereo field. When you open your eyes up to the sky above and you see the world, there is nothing that you can do but close your eyes again, 'cause you don't like what you see. So hopefully you can hear that it is just spreading that out. And once we hit 100%, it's already sounding pretty full. And then we keep going and you get that. It starts giving a bit of a phasey kind of effect. So what I tend to do with this is if I want to use it just for a bit of stereo width, I'll usually use it around 10, 20, 30%. If I want to get a real stereo effect, I'll push it up to 70 to 100. And if I want it to kind of overtake and be something really cool that's a different sound, then we can experiment with that, especially on your synth instruments and other ones. You may want to extend it out. So let's drop this around. I think around about the 30% might work well for this one. We'll come back to the start. Let's take a listen. When you open your eyes up to the sky above. Yeah, let's just have it around about there, around 24%. That one's going to work well. So that's got our vocals done. Let's jump over to another track. Maybe we'll check out the drums and see if we can widen up this drum track. So once again, we're going to tap this time on the drums. We're going to edit here and we're going to add it in. Don't forget that where you add it will be the order of the plugin. So if you want it earlier in your effects chain, you can put it up the top or you can put it down the bottom if you want it towards the end. It's really up to your personal preference. I tend to put it towards the end, closer to the EQ generally. Audio unit extensions again, we come on down, we find Wider, we tap it on there. Now if we tap on the little button here to go to our interface, here it is. So let's just solo that drum track so that we can take a proper listen here, go back into the interface. Let's hit play and let's widen up these drums, shall we? And you can hear with drums as you go quite wide, you get that kind of splashy, phasey effect in there, which is not always what you want, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it's an effect that you might actually want on your drums. So for this one, I probably won't go that wide. In fact, let's just push it all the way, so just so that you can hear what it would sound like if we went all the way out to the sides. So again, you get that slightly tinny, slightly phasey kind of sound there. It's a bit like a filter, it sounds like, as you're dialing it up. Let's bring it on back. Let's say that we want this maybe around the 40% mark. Should we put it there? Yeah, that's going to give us some nice width on that one. So we'll hit done there, and there's our drums. If we bring these back in here to take a listen, let's now listen. You'll hear the stereo effect on the drums and the vocals as we play this mix. When you open your eyes up to the sky above and you see the world, there is nothing. Cool, yeah. Now, I could use this on my guitars as well. I have tried this before on guitars. These ones I've actually already got panned to the left and the right, so I've already got some stereo sound there. But what about this lead guitar? Why don't we jump in and take a listen to this lead guitar and see if this might benefit from a little bit of extra width. So I've already thrown the plug in there. You don't need to watch me do that a bunch of times. And now I'll solo out this one and we'll hit play. We'll bring up the interface here and let's see if this lead guitar is going to benefit from a little bit of width. And I actually think that this might be one that we can actually use that additional width. We can go over 100%. This one goes up to 11. So we'll see how that's going to work. Let's bring it back into our mix with that wider guitar now and hit play. Can you hear that it's just standing out in the mix a little bit with that lead guitar? If we come back here, I'll turn it off, we'll play it, and just listen what happens when you just get that little bit of additional stereo width there. Cool, yeah? Now you can go nuts with this stuff. You can go too far, you can add too many stereo effects and actually take everything away from the center. So please be careful when you're using it. In my experience, sometimes you go nuts and then you end up with this mix that's so wide, there's actually nothing up the middle. You don't want that. You want to use it in moderation. Let's do one more little thing here. Let's play around with this virtual instrument and see if we can add some stereo here. Now this time I wanted to show you a way to use two different stereo plugins to get an even more interesting, unique effect. So we're going to grab the stereo lag plugin from Blue Mango, also a free stereo plugin. And this one is just a very simple delay, stereo delay, where we can delay it to the left or the right by a certain number of samples or a certain number of milliseconds. So let's just play around and get a bit of an interesting tone on this electric piano, and then we'll add and layer on our wider plugin as well. Let's take a listen. See, I like that. It's a long one, around 50 milliseconds, but you can hear that sort of ping pong kind of sound that we get on this electric piano. So let's hit done on that one. Now we can layer this up. So we hit edit. We can either put it before or after the stereo lag. I'm going to put it after, but you can experiment with whatever you like. We'll tap on that one, audio unit extensions. We'll come down here, all the way down to wider. We'll tap that one on, and then we'll add in some stereo width. So now we're layering up these plugins, and this is a cool way to get some unique effects on your sounds. Let's take a listen. So there you go, you've got a very unique sound now because we've got extreme width here on this plugin, and we've also got that little delay to just delay out the left and the right. So it's a cool way to get a little bit of different stuff going on here. Now we'll turn it down because it's a little bit loud in our mix. So what have we done here? We've got drums that we've used some stereo width. We've got our lead guitar here, our vocals, and our electric piano sound. Let's come to this section here and we'll listen to from the bridge with our lead guitar and then back into our vocals, and we'll see, have we done something here to improve this track? Is it going to be more interesting with all of this stereo width that we've added in? Let's take a listen. When you open There you go. I think that's pretty cool. Again, you want to be careful not to go too far, but I think as opposed to what we had at the start, it was very sort of down the middle. Now we've expanded, we've widened out a bunch of these instruments, and they're sitting in different spots in the stereo spectrum now. It's just giving a richer, more full sound. So if you want to get a richer and fuller sound, and you want to do it for free, check out this. Check out the twofer. Check out the stereo lag time plugin, as well as Wider from Infected Mushrooms. They will be linked down in the description, as well as some other videos that you can check out to get the most out of your GarageBand recording. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you next time.